Sure. Giveaway rules. User 7456. Wait, can you hear me? Hi, can you hear me? Yes, Capybara lover. Can hear me? Oh no. Sorry, my mic just dropped off. Okay, can hear me, right? Okay, good. Yes, there's gonna be Kahoot today. Cindy, right? Okay, do you remember? Secret Life of Kiki. Hi, I'm gonna call you Kiki. Hi, I've never seen you before. Hello, welcome. Capybara lover. Very timely. Do you always like join for all the lessons? For your lesson or later? For mine, the Kahoot will be on my lesson. Okay, so you better pay attention later on for my lesson. Hello everyone. Haven't seen you in 2 weeks. Hope you're like you have been enjoying life. Blur girl, hi Blur girl. Oh no, I forgot your name. um, are you Paige? Blur girl. Okay, Victoria. When is P5 English coming? I think after me is gonna be P6 English. Yeah. But Paige is blogger, right? Hi Victoria. Paige, yes, okay. Oh, okay. I am impressed that I still remember your name. Hey, oh yes. Oh yeah, she's my English teacher. Hi, Michael Tan. Yes, my English teacher. Hi. I think I need some English tuition. So later I'll join you for English, which is why I'm always joining you for English. Do you think you can call me Kayla? Okay, that's my real name. Kayla. Okay, I will try to remember. You better stay next this time round. Oh, the last time round. Oh, okay. Such a coincidence. The last time round, I really met my brother, my real life brother, on the train. On the train, like I never meet him, but um, he stays in about the same area as me. So just nice I saw him. So which is why I exited um the lunch. They don't have teacher Lin's lesson. Oh yeah, teacher Lin is. Oh yes, of course. Oh my goodness, how can I not remember? Teacher Lin is enjoying her life, like on holiday, somewhere. I don't remember where she went. Okay, maybe later I will join teacher Alvin's lesson. Hi Jerome. Okay, today we will be doing something pretty simple. I think I've had enough of like the water and the transport system, right? So I think y'all should be. Oh, she went Taiwan, is it, Michael? I think she did tell y'all, is it? I don't remember it's Taiwan or Korea. Like a lot of our colleagues are going overseas like during this period of time. So she said she's going to Taiwan. Okay, good, enjoying life. All right. Yeah, so I was saying like I think I've had enough of water cycle, right, and the changes of state. I think maybe it's time for us to move on to something easy, something like okay. Why is almost all the teachers going holiday when it's not holiday? Teachers are like we're all working adults, so we can go holiday as and when we want to because we are working, so we are always under a lot of stress, right? So when we're stressed, then need to go overseas for holiday or for a short break. But you're a student not stressed. Student very chill one. Hi Lin. That is unfair, but no, it is fair because we have also went through what you have went through. We were a student last time, so now you study hard. Next time you grow up, you work. Then you can go for your holiday also. Mm. When are we starting? Okay, I think Kayla is getting impatient. Yes, that is a very good question. I think we should be starting now. Okay, enough of chit chatting. All right. So today we'll be going through a plant transport system. Plant transport system. I don't know if you have went through it in your school already, but it is actually quite a short chapter because there's not a lot of things to learn. You just need to know that the plant transport system consists of your water carrying tube and food carrying tube. Yes, you are stressed. Good. Stress is good. Right. You must learn to be stressed. No, we are not doing a blue cut. We are doing a book later. All right. Okay, Cindy, you have already learned plant transport system. Okay, good. Then today you can carry all of us, right? You'll try to answer the question. Okay. Let me just start with one MCQ, right? I don't want to drag. I think today there's quite a lot of question to cover also. All right. Okay, starting with question one. I hope you all can see the question. Okay, diagram below shows how water and food are transported in a plant. Okay, so let me try to highlight the water as blue color. Okay, so you can see that the blue color one is here, and the blue color one is here. And then hopefully you can see that it starts from C, right? So C goes to here, goes to here. Maybe I can change to blue color, goes to here, goes to here, right? So I think this gives us a very strong indication of what is C. So you should be thinking and probably have a good idea that C is probably the roots, okay? Then after that, look at the food, right? Food is over here. So food is over here and over here. And food starts from B, right? It starts from B, go out, and then go to C, right? Draw wrongly. Okay, wait. What did I draw wrongly? Oh, okay. Wait. Oh my goodness. All right. 2 weeks never do it. Okay, sorry. I think thanks for wait, who is the one that reminded me? Chan Wai. Okay, thanks for reminding me. Okay, okay, hold on. Right. Haven't warm up yet. Okay, so the water is the dotted line. Sorry, dotted water is here, here. Okay, let me erase the roots. Okay, actually, okay, I'm not very used to this. Okay, okay, so the water from B, right, goes to here, right? So B should be the roots. Yes, I should be ashamed of myself. That is so embarrassing, right? But okay, we always human makes mistakes, right? So it's okay. Okay, the roots should be B, right? So the water will go out. Then I should I reverse the color? No. Okay, so the solid line is the okay, solid line is the food, right? So food is here, right? So food comes out from C. Then you should have a good idea that C is probably the leaf, right? Okay. From there, you should also probably have a good idea that what is A, right? Because A is the one that connects everything. So it should be the stem. Okay, so having all this idea, right, we can start to narrow down our option. Okay, A is stem, B is roots. Okay, C is leaf, leaf. Where's leaf? Okay, there's only one leaf in C, right? So okay, this question is still not too difficult. All right, not too tricky. Okay, so the correct answer should be two. Yes. Okay. Before I move on, let me see if there's any question. Did I make any mistake? Okay. Victoria says I thought C is flower. But there's already a flower over here, right? Flower over here. So I don't think C is flower. Okay. Any other thing that I missed out? Okay, I don't think I missed out anything. Answer should be two. Okay, good. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Type wrongly. Okay, it's fine. Yep, we all make mistakes. Today is like a day where everybody is making mistakes. Any question? No question about transport system, right? Plant transport system. This chapter is pretty easy. So hopefully, you know what is the water carrying tube and what is the food carrying tube. Okay. You no longer need to remember the phloem, xylem anymore also, right? So shouldn't be a problem. Okay, then let's move on to question two, right? Question two, Ryan cut an outer ring of the stem between position P and Q. of the plant as shown in the diagram below. So the food carrying tube between position P and Q were removed, right? While the water carrying tube, okay, so the question says that the water carrying tubes remain in the stem, right? Usually, the question, okay, sometimes don't tell you which one is removed, but the moment you see the outer ring is removed, right, then it is basically, okay, pointing to the food carrying tube, okay? Nowadays, you all don't need to remember the position of the food carrying tube and water carrying tube, right? So probably the question will have to like tell you all which tube is removed. Okay, but I think everything is already clearly stated in the question. Okay, water carrying tube remains intact. Okay, so P and Q is over here. Okay, you can see that the outer ring of the bark is removed, right? So after a few days, he observed that one part of the stem was swollen, right? So which of the following answer is correct? Okay, so usually at this point you got to realize why it is swollen and which part is swollen, right? Looking at the diagram, right, you can see that the leaves are all on top here, right? So the leaf, okay, is all over here. So you got to realize, like, do they still have the ability to make food? Okay, yes, they can, because water will still be transported upwards, right? The water tank tube is not removed, so they will still be able to receive water, right? They still have sunlight, and they are still receiving sunlight. They still can carry out exchange of gases, so they still can make food. Okay, I want to change it to green. However, all this food that is produced by the leaves, right, will be trapped at P, right? So if they trapped at P, then it's gonna be swollen at this part here, all right? So the first thing you got to realize is, yes, okay, it is trapped at P. Water carrying tube is removed, but it says the water carrying tubes remain in the stem. So the water carrying tube is not removed. Okay, Cindy. I don't understand what is YIFO. Water inside, food outside. Oh, you mean the position? Yes, the water carrying tube is inside, but the food carrying tube is outside. Yep. But you are not tested on this anymore. Okay, but food carrying tube is removed. Yes, Kayla, right? So food carrying tube is removed. So okay, food carrying tube is removed. So Kayla says that is the food carrying tube that's removed, so it's swollen on top. Yes. Okay. So in this case, wait, what did your science teacher tell you? Okay, so in this case, the food, right, that is made will be, okay, will be trapped down here. Okay, it cannot be transported down because the water carrying tube is removed, right? So in this case, we can quickly narrow down to our answer to P, right? Q definitely will not be removed, right? But the next step is to, okay, figure out which is the reason. Okay, when the question says that the water absorbed by the roots had traveled upwards and collected at P, okay, this is wrong, all right, because the water carrying tube is not removed, so it will not stop anywhere and it will not be collected anywhere, right? The next one says that the food, okay, that is made by the leaves are unable to travel downwards, okay, and collected at P. Right. So remember that it is unable to travel downwards because the food carrying tubes are removed. The science teacher told us about WIFO. Okay, I think you mean like water inside, food outside, is it? Okay, yeah. I mean, that is a good way to remember it. Okay, yeah. Okay, Lin. Okay, it is the food carrying tube that is removed. All right, so not the water carrying tube. All right, so you got to read through the question carefully as you are going through the question. All right. So once you realize this, I think this question is also not too difficult. All right, the answer is also number two. All right. Okay. Wait, y'all cannot see the answer. Let's scroll up a bit more. Words are a bit blurry. Okay. I'm not sure which word is blurry, but I hope you are able to maybe at least hear me clearly. All right. Any question about especially why? Okay, over here it is swollen. Right. A lot of questions like to ask you about this, but plant transport system, there's not a lot of questions that we can ask you or test you. Okay. The whole thing, Alin. Maybe your like reception or your internet is not very good. That's why the whole thing is quite blurry. Is everyone's like, because just now Michael Tan says that he's okay. Yeah. Michael says he's clear. Cindy, yours is also blurry, is it? Because you put a no. Right. But I don't know how to pronounce this. Ceiling, is it? It's asking me to go to the next question. It is clear. Okay, okay. So maybe Lin, you try to refresh your device, okay, and see how it goes. Okay. Okay, we move on to question 3. All right. Question 3. Okay, it is clear. All right. So I assume it is clear. Okay. Question 3. Okay, Bob did a cross section of leaf G of a land plant and observed it under a microscope. He observed part H as shown below. All right, so part H is over here. Hopefully, you realize what is part H. Part H is actually the stomata, right? Okay, and then you remember what is the function of the stomata, right? To allow the stomata is basically like the nose, right? The plant. Okay, so it allows exchange of gases. It can also open and close, right, to control the exchange of gases, right? So which of the following? Okay, the question is asking which of the following is true about part H. That means which of the following is true about the stomata, right? So A says that they allow the exchange of gases to take place. Okay, allow the exchange of gases to take place. Yep, this is definitely correct for A. B says that mata. Okay, they trap sunlight needed to make food for the plant. Okay, so this is wrong. Right. Actually, a lot of students also, I noticed they have this misconception. Okay, the stomata do not trap sunlight needed to make food for the plant. Does anyone know like what is the thing that traps sunlight for the leaf to make food? Actually, you all have already learned it. I'm not so sure. Does anyone know? Okay, chloroplast is the part of the cell. Chlorophyll, yes. Okay, Jerome, you're correct. It's actually chlorophyll, right? So, okay, this one you'll take note. It is not stomata, but chlorophyll is inside the chloroplast, all right? Okay, then C. They are usually found on the lower part of the leaves away from the sunlight. Okay, so this is also true, right? They are usually found on the lower part of the leaves, right? So there's a reason why they are mostly found on the lower part, because the leaf do not want to lose water, do not want to lose too much water vapor, right? So if it is found mostly on the bottom, right, then you will not get heated up too much by the sunlight, okay? It will not be exposed directly to the sunlight. Prevent water loss. Yes, Jerome, very good. So that's why they're usually okay found on the bottom part. Then D, they allow water vapor to escape from the plants. Yes, this one I just mentioned, right? Okay, exchange of gases, so including water vapor. Right. They also take in oxygen and give out oxygen. They also take in carbon dioxide and give carbon dioxide. Hopefully, you're clear because a lot of students think that the plants they do not carry out respiration. That is the main misconception. All right, so pick number 4 as the answer. Okay, let me read through the comments while maybe I drink some water also. Yes, Iris, the answer is 4. So what you're thinking is correct. Okay, very good. Yes. Okay, the timetable of the TikTok will change. Today is gonna be the last. Sorry, this week is the last week where we will do the back to. So next week we will go back to the 7 to 8 p.m. and then each day there's only one subject, right? So next week you all will see me again because I will be doing all the so-called even weeks. Jerome, yes, today there's Kahoot. There's Kahoot for mind science, if that's what you're asking. School, I have not learned about what is chlorophyll. Oh, okay. I think you will learn it when you start to go into the topic of photosynthesis and respiration. So some of the schools you're already taught cells, right? Even though it is already out of syllabus in P5, right? But I know some schools you'll still teach cells and you'll still teach about the cell parts. That's why just now some of y'all know what is a chloroplast. Right? Chlorophyll is part of the plant cell which help to trap light energy. Yes. Okay, that is absolutely correct. Okay. Space humper. Okay. Okay, we move on to the next question. Right, slowly. Right. Question 4. How much is the tuition fee? I think you have to go to the AGrader website to check. Disregard your name, but your name is like right in front of my face. I cannot disregard it. Okay, maybe you can change it to something else if you want it. All right. Okay, y'all can go to the AGrader website to check about the tuition fee. Okay. And also, if you are, I think I've said it before, right? Interested in our online class, right? Okay. So also you can sign up for a trial lesson, right? One trial lesson. Okay, join my class. Like it, you can continue. If you don't like it, nothing to lose for you. All right. So this is our we're doing the online class. So I also teach the P5 science. Okay, and then also the respective teacher that always does the respective subject also teach that in our online class. Okay. Lin goes to A grader. Which center do you go to? For me too. Sure. What Robux? Oh, you mean the Kahoot prizes? I am not the one. Can get bonus mark for Kahoot. Well, maybe you can write into the admin and ask for bonus bucks instead. Yeah, let me quickly go through this question 4 first, shall we? Okay, question 4. Diagram below shows tiny openings. Okay, so immediately you know this tiny opening is your stomata, right? Stomata, okay, tiny opening that are found on the underside. Okay, just now in the previous question, we did learn that it is in the underside. Oh, chachugang. Okay. So the tiny openings will open and close. Okay, this one I'm not so sure if you'll know or not. Okay, but they will open and close according to the presence of light. Okay, presence of light. So when there is it depends. When there is a lot of light, right, when it gets too hot, right, then they will close the stomata to prevent like losing too much water vapor. Okay, the graph below shows the amount of oxygen produced by a green plant placed outdoor, okay, for 24 period on a warm and sunny day. Okay, so 24-hour period. All right. So I'm not so sure what is this 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right. It isn't really stated over here. What is the price? It will be some very nice present. Okay, it is randomized, so I don't know what you will get from them. But it's actually it can be like pencil case, marker highlighter, or like some blind box, right? If I remember correctly. Okay. So I think it's worth the effort. Okay, let's take a look at the graph, right? So the amount of oxygen produced over here is quite high, and then after that it goes low, right? And then after that it increases, right? So probably this part over here it shows that there's a lot of light, I suppose, right? So okay, there's gonna be light. okay, and then it will carry out photosynthesis. Okay, wait, my handwriting is horrible. Okay, which is the reason why the rate of producing oxygen is high, right? So it will give out okay, oxygen, right? Okay, which is the reason why over here it says the amount of oxygen produced per hour. Okay, so hopefully you realize the amount of oxygen produced is high because it's going through photosynthesis, right? So the rate of photosynthesis is high. But if you look at the rate, okay, it is over here decreasing. Okay, over here is decreasing. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 is the points right. Okay, wait, Michael, what do you mean by is the points right? Oh, okay. Wait, you all can see, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm not so sure what is 1, 2, 3, 4. It may refer to certain phase during a 24-hour. Okay, because this is 24-hour period. So my guess is it's cut into maybe like okay 4 parts. So maybe this is like morning, this is night, and then this goes back to the morning, right? Of oxygen. So over here you can see that over here the amount of oxygen is very low already. Okay, and then it goes back to here, which is very high. All right. So the question is asking which one of the following is correct, okay, about the tiny openings at different points of the time. Okay, so it says at point 1, okay, it is open. Point 1, that means, okay, let me use the over here. At point 1, okay, maybe over here. It is open. The other thing is correct or wrong? Jerome think is 3, Kayla think is 1. Wait, it's asking what's true. Yes. Yeah, it's asking like is at point 1 is it open? Right. I think this question is quite interesting. You need to think a bit. Okay, if you're not so sure, okay, it seems like you are not so sure for this question. Let's move on to the second option first. Okay, second option says at point 2, it is closed. Yo, witty forever for life. Hi. Wait. Let's focus on this first. Right. At point 2 over here, do you think it is closed? Okay, at point 2 over here, I think the rate of like the amount of oxygen is still pretty high, right? So I don't think it will be closed. I think over here it should be open, right? So this should be closed, it should be open, okay? Because at point number 2, okay, the oxygen, okay, is still pretty high, right? Okay, showing that it's still going through photosynthesis. It's still carrying out photosynthesis, and it still needs to carry like go through exchange of gases. It still need to release oxygen. So my guess is that at point 2 it should be open. Point 3 over here, does it need to be open at point 3? Just now someone chose number 3. I forgot. Jerome, you chose number 3. Okay. Number 1. Okay, isn't it 1 since stomata house? Yes, okay. Subspace. I'm gonna call it subspace. Okay. I'm not saying it's not 1. I am saying that it looks like okay, you are not decided. Okay, Kayla thinks it's number 1, but you are not decided. So we got to go through. Okay, wait. Kayla says 4 is definitely wrong. Okay. Let's take a look at number 4. Okay, number 3 is also wrong because at number 3 over here, right, it should be close. Okay, because it's releasing oxygen at a very slow rate. Okay, so the stomata don't need to be open, right? So this should be let me change it to red color. Close. Wait, Kayla says number 4 is definitely wrong. Okay, so number 4 is definitely wrong because number 4 is kind of like okay, the same as number 2, right? So number 4 and number 2, okay, should be the same. So should be open also. similar to point 2. All right. So the answer is actually number 1. Okay, because at number 1, the rate at which it is releasing oxygen is very high. All right. So it is not number 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So all you need to do is just look at the amount of oxygen produced. That means if it needs to release a lot of oxygen, right, the stomata should be open. If it doesn't need to release a lot of oxygen, then the stomata can be closed. All right. So the answer will be number 1. Okay, first time I see like nobody spamming the answer finally, right? Finally, there's a question which kind of like got your thinking. Okay, wait, Witty. Yes, Celeste. Hi, Celeste. You've been working hard and preparing for your PSLE. Okay, any question before I move on? Let's see. I don't know why, but I chose 4. Okay, I'm just scrolling up. Isaac W, won't it be open all the time since oxygen is released all the time? No, it doesn't carry out photosynthesis all the time, especially at night, right? At night, it doesn't carry out photosynthesis, so it can close, okay, the stomata. Then it will not lose too much water vapor also, right? It doesn't make sense for them to be open so that they lose too much water vapor. If they lose too much water vapor, then they need to absorb more water. When they absorb more water, then they run out of water. How, right? That's going to be like a bad situation. ESLE is definitely not easy. That's why you need to work hard. At least 10 is 86. Okay. 3 doesn't show 0. Yep. Okay. 3 doesn't show 0. So, but the stomata don't need to be open. So it can be closed. All right. Okay. I think we move on to the OEQ section. All right. Okay, hopefully you all remember the questions that I've gone through because later on during the Kahoot, right, I think most of the questions are kind of like related to what we have gone through. Okay, wait, Nirisha, what is it that you don't understand? Okay, maybe while waiting for your response, I will just continue on with the question 5 first. Yes, Pillow, today there's going to be Kahoot for P5 Science, okay? Nirisha, okay, maybe you type out and tell me what you don't understand. I hope I will be able to catch you, all right? Okay, while I go through question number 5, yep. So question number 5, diagram below shows how substances are transported in a plant. Okay, how substances are transported in a plant. So this one, I think this question is very similar. Okay, wait, why is the answer the answer? I don't get why it's 3. Wait, what do you mean by you don't get why it's 3? Sorry. You're talking about which question? Okay, wait, Nirisha, now I'm also confused. 1 is the answer, 3 isn't the answer. So are you asking why is 3 not the answer? I'm also now confused by you, Nirisha. You have passed your confusion to me. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna move on with this question first, okay? Because this question is not too difficult. All right. So looking at these substances, I think it's quite similar to just now one of the question. This one, right? The one where I made a blunder. So okay, but if you say you don't understand the whole question, that's not gonna help me help you, Nirisha. So maybe you should read through the question first, try to understand the question a bit more, right? Um, like I will not explain through the whole question again because I won't have time also. Okay. So try to ask me short questions, right? Use your thinking skill, right? To think and try to process a bit. Like you can't tell me, oh, teacher, I don't understand a single thing. Then how am I gonna help you? Okay, I think you are like thinking students, right? So should be clever enough, right? Explain again. I don't have time, eh. Like, do you all want to do the Kahoot? Okay, let's go through this question. Okay, this question is not too difficult. All right. So the diagram below shows how substances are transported in the plant. Okay, you have the leaves, right? So immediately you should know that the leaves will make food, right? So if it is going out, okay, this is probably the arrow that is transporting the food already, right? So leaves make food, okay? So, all right, sure, good, okay, finally you understand, right? So don't panic, right? It looks like you panic, right? No, you don't say that. Okay, then suddenly you understand, all right? So chill, relax, calm down, and process, okay? So in this case, food is made, right? And then it goes out, okay, to T. Right, I think by now you all should have a good idea. Like T is gonna be the stem already, okay? T is the stem. Okay, then the food is transported to U and V. Okay, I'm not so sure what is U and V, right? But I want to figure out what is substance. Okay, so I know now substance A, right, is probably okay, not probably like it's definitely the food. Okay, okay, what is B? Right. So what is B? Right. B definitely must be water, right? Because in this chapter you always tested on food or water. Okay. But let us maybe write down and figure out all of them. Does it make sense or not? So probably this is the stem, right? Stem will transport the food to T. Okay, this one shows two arrow that is going out, right? So probably not the roots already. Okay, I don't know what is V. Maybe it is the flower. Okay, I can write it down. Maybe it's flower. So U is probably the roots already, right? So the roots will transport water, okay, water outwards. That's why water will go here, okay, and then water will go here to all parts, right? So, right, maybe V can be the fruit also. I'm not so sure, okay, but we just keep our mind open, okay? So I know that substance B is gonna be water. U is roots. Yes, pillow. Yep. I think we already figured it out. This one is very similar to just now that first MCQ question. All right. Okay, next, diagram below shows a plant, right? So by now you all should be pretty familiar with a plant also. Okay, parts. Okay, parts such as your leaf, you have a stem, you have your roots. Okay, the fruit over here is labeled, and I think this is the flower. Part B wants you to describe, okay, describe how water is transported to the fruit. Okay, so all you have to do is describe how the water, okay, absorbed through the roots, okay, up, and then it will reach the fruit over here. Okay, so after you have done this topic, right, the main thing that you need to talk about is always the water carrying tube. Okay, water carrying, okay, tube. So last time in P4, right, all you need to talk about is, okay, water gets absorbed by the roots, okay, and then it will transport through the stem and reach the leaves and all the other parts of the plant, right? So now you have to say something like what subspace said, right? You said water is transported through the roots. Sorry, water is transported through the water carrying tubes from the roots to the stem to the fruit. Okay, I think that is quite a decent answer. Or you can start off by saying that the roots will absorb the water right from the soil and then it's transported through the water carrying tubes, okay, through the stem to reach the fruit. All right, I think the idea is the same also with what subspace said, just that I arranged it in a different way. You can say phloem and xylem, right? So xylem is a water carrying tube and phloem is your food carrying tube. Right? But there is no need to remember it anymore. But of course, if you want to remember it, nobody will stop you, right? So you can use phloem and xylem. Okay, you will not get penalized, all right? So okay, let me write down the answer first. Okay, let me scroll it up a bit more. Okay, so the roots. Okay, how about when it asks how the food is transported to the fruits? Okay, that is a totally different question. Okay, let me finish this first. Okay, the roots absorb water. From the soil, okay, N is is through the water carrying tubes. How to spell phloem and xylem? If you don't know how to spell phloem and xylem, it will be easier to call it food carrying tube and water carrying tube. All right, and it's transported through the water carrying tubes. Okay. Oh no, my horrible handwriting again. Hold on, let me correct this. Tubes through the stem. Okay. To reach the fruit. Okay. So the main thing to mention is of course the water carrying tube, right? So please remember to talk about that. Okay, wait. I let me scroll through your comments and see. Okay, a lot of comments. I forgot the R. Wait. What R? Oh no, I wrote so many things. Okay, later then I look for it. I used to always get this kind of question wrong. Okay. I think water carrying tube and food carrying tube shouldn't be too difficult. Okay, water is transported through. Okay, I think subspace just now you've already answered, right? How about when they ask how the food is transported? Then talk about the food carrying tube, lor. Right? Food made by the leaves is transported through the food carrying tube to reach the fruit. Wait, xylem is wrong in primary. Wait, what do you mean by xylem is wrong in primary? The roots absorb. Okay, how to spell phloem? Okay, like I said, if you don't know how to spell phloem xylem, it's best to use water carrying tube, food carrying tube. All right. Hold on, any more question? Okay, you're lucky. I think because it's not in my primary but secondary syllabus. Yes, phloem and xylem is kind of like taught in secondary school, right? But in secondary school, you can no longer use food carrying tube and water carrying tube. You got to use phloem and xylem, all right? Okay, in your school, it is wrong, but you have to remember, and why don't you ask, is it accepted in PSLE? I think that's the main question, right? Because certain schools penalize you because they don't want you to do the wrong thing, right? As in, they don't want you to do something that will make you like do careless mistake. Okay. Okay, so if you can't, doesn't matter. Like I also will not encourage you all to use phloem xylem. Okay, use food carrying tube and water carrying tube. That will be easier. Below, your teacher asks you to use phloem xylem. Okay, but like I said, a different teacher will have different recommendation and different expectation. Okay, just use whichever you are most comfortable with. Okay, but as far as I know, phloem and xylem is accepted during PSLE marking. Okay, if in your PSLE you write phloem xylem, you will not get penalized. All right. Okay. Let's move on to question 6. I think we are running a bit behind time, so I try not to scroll upwards. So sorry for Chan Wai. Okay, maybe later at the end. Okay. Question 6, diagram below shows part of a trunk, okay, of a small tree with the outer ring of the bark, okay, which contains the food carrying tube removed. Okay, usually when they say the outer ring, right, it is always talking about the food carrying tube that is removed, right? So over here also, food carrying tube removed. Okay, but this question is slightly different because over here there is a branch, over here there is a branch, right? But you need to pay attention to, of course, the leaf. Right over here, there are many leaves. Okay, but in branch white, there's only a single leaf, right? Very pathetic looking leaf. Okay, it's until 6. Okay, so the outer ring of the bark is removed, right? What effect will okay, the question is asking what effect will removing the outer ring okay have on branch X and branch Y after some time. Okay, so in this case, by removing okay the outer ring, okay, branch X, I think, is still gonna thrive pretty well. So remember, right, they will still be receiving water. Okay, so water will still be transported to them. Okay, so the leaves still can make food, right? So I suppose if you want to look at the thickness of the branch, right, thickness of the branch and the color of the leaves, right, definitely they will survive. Okay, in fact, I think branch X will grow well because there's a lot of leaves. They will make food. Okay, so in this case, the branch, the thickness, right, will increase. Color of the leaf will definitely still be very vibrant green, right? You're back, Peppa. Okay. So, but what about Y? Okay, I cannot say the same for Y because you see, Y only has a single leaf, right? A very pathetic single leaf. So, I would think that there will not be enough food produced over here. So, the thickness of branch Y will probably decrease in this case. Okay, but will it turn brown? Because when it says it turns brown, that means it is like dead, right? So you must be thinking, you must think like, will the branch Y, okay, will the leaf turn brown and die? Probably not. All right. So in this case, for branch Y, okay, the leaf will remain green. Okay. So we can explain by talking about the food carrying tube above the branch Y is removed. So mainly is of course talk about the food carrying tube being removed. Okay, so if the food carrying tube is removed, then the food made by okay, branch Y, right, cannot be transported to Y. Okay, so we just need to explain about the thickness of branch Y. Okay, so don't need to talk about X. So the idea is very simple, right? So the food carrying tube is removed. The food made by X, okay, cannot be transported to Y. So they only need to, they can only depend on this leaf, right? There's only a single leaf. So with lesser leaf being made, then the branch will become thinner. Same thing as your, also, if you eat lesser food, you also become skinnier, right? Okay, but although you will not die, you become skinnier for sure. Okay, let me scroll up a bit, right? I'm gonna start by saying that the food, okay, can be, okay, tube, okay, above branch Y, okay, was removed. So hence, okay, food made at X cannot be, okay, transported. Okay, cannot be transported to Y. All right, so with, okay, only, okay, a single if less other machine writing. Okay, yep, I'm trying to write a bit faster. All right, with only a single leaf, less food is made, and okay, the okay of y, okay, will increase and be right. Okay, because my R is joined together, so it looks like food cam tube. Okay, I'm sure you know what is it. It's not food cam tube. Okay, not food kimchi tube or cam tube. fruit carrying tube. All right. Just pretend that I'm drunk while I'm writing this answer. Okay. Any more question? We actually still got, oh no, 2 more questions to go. Okay, let's try to speed up a bit. All right. Growth. Okay. Peppa, right, it's growth. I know you're talking about this one. Right. Okay, it's growth, not growth. I don't know how, I don't even know how to pronounce that. GNWTH. Let me type a comment hi. Okay, because I don't want that thing to appear again. Yep. Let's quickly move on to question 7. All right, because we still got 1 more question to go. All right. Okay. Erica cut a stalk of white flower into half. Right. So she cut it into half, and she's placing half of the stalk in the beaker of red colored water. Right. The other half broke. So the other half broke at part X over here. Okay. I want to use a different color. So the broken part of the stalk was left over here, right? So it dropped into the water, into the beaker of the blue colored water. Okay, so this is blue, this is red, right? So the broken part of the stalk was left in the blue colored water. She then left the setup overnight in the classroom. Okay, so in this question, right, pretty straightforward. Okay, the red colored water will probably be absorbed, right, absorbed upwards, okay, to reach part A. But for the part X over here, right, it cannot, okay, absorb, right? Okay, so it will remain as is it a white colored flower? Yes, it is a white colored flower. Okay, so it remains as white. All right. So for part A, if the question is asking you what would Erica observe about parts A and B of the flower the next day, right? So just say that the part A will turn red and part B remains white. Part A turns red, comma, then part B, okay, remains, okay, remain. Rate, yeah, we don't say half rate, we try to be more specific, okay? Part A turns red, part B remains white. Okay, when it comes to explaining the answer, right? So the standard stuff, right? So talk about the water carrying tube, okay? Talk about the red coloring, okay? Is transported through the water carrying tube, okay? Reach the flower, and then because X is broken, right? So it will not reach part B. Okay, let me write down the answer. Is transported, okay, through the water, carrying tubes. Reach, okay, part A, okay, to reach part A. So however, okay, part X broke, so it um cannot, okay, transport, okay, any water. Can you see? Okay, yeah, I think it should be, but let me scroll up a bit. Okay, so it cannot transport any water to part B. All right, part B. Am I correct? Yeah, okay, yes, part B. Okay, so any question before I move on? Okay, hopefully you have already done this in school. I don't know if you have done this in school. I know some of my students have already done like plant transport system in school. Key point is always at this, right? Key point is always the um transported through the water carrying tubes, right? So it's always the water carrying tube. Okay, but of course, part X, okay, part X broke, right? So it cannot transport any more water to part B. Okay, let's go through the last part quickly. All right, still copying. Okay. Okay, Erica then pollinated similar flowers to produce fruit A on the plant. To produce bigger fruit A, she removed the outer layer of the stem, which contained the food carrying tube. Okay, so basically, what she did is she removed, right? Okay, hold on, let me point it to here. Food carrying tube is removed. Okay, so when it is removed, then the leaves, right, will make food, right? So food made by the leaves, okay, will store inside the fruit. Okay, so we'll store here, right? Because if the food carrying tube is removed over here, right? If it is removed over here, then the food made by the leaf, okay, is not needed to transport down to the roots. All right. So all the excess food that is made by the leaf will be stored in the. So that's why it will become bigger. All right. So this is the explanation of why. Okay, if they want you to explain why the bigger fruit A is produced. Okay. So remember this. This is actually I think a technique, right? So, the farmers will do, okay, to produce bigger fruit, right? That's why the fruits are becoming bigger and better and juicier, all right, and even like seedless and all that. Okay, so let us quickly write down the answer, right? When the I'm gonna write my carrying properly now. Carrying tubes are removed, comma, then food, okay, made by the leaves, it cannot be transported, okay, to other parts. You can also say roots. So excess, okay, food made by the leaves. Yes, 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 I'll run the Kahoot, don't worry. It will be stored, okay, in root. All right. Okay, so in this question, the key point you need to talk about is, of course, again, the food carrying tube is removed, right? With the food carrying tube removed, then the food made by the leaves, okay, cannot transport to other parts of the plant. So if it cannot transport to other parts of the plant, then all the excess food, right, will be stored, okay, in fruit egg. Oh my God, I will be running the Kahoot. The Kahoot is for science. So I'm gonna do it now. Yes, actually, he's just waiting down here, okay, for me to finish. But okay, I got to run the Kahoot before he take over. Okay, any more question? Right. Okay, no question. Stressing teach. Wait, you're stressing teach out. Stressing me out? No lah, I'm not stressed. Okay, I'm very chill one. Okay, Kahoot, yes. I hope the Kahoot will stress you. Okay. Oh my goodness, which object is used for headwear? Again, this. Finally, this TikTok is trying to make my life difficult. Okay, I think you are done, right? Okay, if you are done, all right. Let me just go into the Kahoot. All right. Okay, it's live. All right, and then if your family is to join, okay, no island. Kahoot, is it difficult or not? It's quite similar to the questions that we've gone through in the worksheet. Okay, so if you've been listening, I think you should be able to do it fine. But of course, Kahoot, some like it's also about the fastest finger. Okay, will also get first, right? Wait, viewers may not be able to hear me clearly. Okay, I don't know. I think it's because of the Kahoot music. Okay, let me maybe mute the music. I'm not gonna change the. Let me just mute the music. Okay, I scared y'all cannot hear me talk. Okay, so the pin right is 822676. Okay, 822676. For a while, how many of you joined already? Okay, there's 26 of you all joining. Okay, you all know how to claim for the prize, right? If you're, let me see. Yep. Okay. So if you're one of the top three winner, remember to take a screenshot, right? And then you can actually DM to the TikTok account or okay, send a WhatsApp number to the number that I can't see the number. Wait, 9511713. Okay, to claim your gift. All right. Okay, I think all of your those who got to join. Okay, now we have 30. Okay, but I'm gonna start anyway. Okay, if you want to join, you can always key in the pin to join. Okay, let's go. First question. True or false? Very simple, just a warm up. Organ that pumps substances around the plant. So hard, capybara. Like, and I can smell your sarcasm from here. You pressed wrongly. Oh my goodness, 15 of you got it wrong. Okay, there's no organ pumping in the plant transport system. Okay, well, you learned something new. You got it wrong. Okay, it's okay. This one you need to place the pin on the water cavity. Okay, although just now I said that you are not tested on locating the position of the food carrying tube and water carrying tube like anymore, but I think it's good to know, right? So that's why I included this here. Just now, who was the one who said WIFO, right? I think Paige was the one that said, right? I hope you all know what is WIFO, okay? Okay, so those who chose the inner ring is correct. Okay, water carrying tube is in the inner ring. I think it's W means water inside, FO means food outside. Every stock was split into two, right? Very familiar with, very similar to just now that question. Several hours, which of the following was observed and why? Perhaps wrong again, like Butterfinger. Relax, relax, chill. I think you got to be accurate. Don't be like don't rush into the answer. Okay. Confirm wrong. How would you know? Okay, very good. 21 of y'all got it correct. Looks like y'all were listening to the mayonnaise. How come I never hear you, like or see you, or you're here? Of course, okay, in a plant, it is possible for water and food to be transported in the same direction in their respective tube. Hmm. Can they be transported in the same direction? It's actually true. Please, okay, number one. Let's see if you can hang on to that number one spot. What's the difference between the water and the food carrying tube? Hmm. Going up, that means you keep getting it correct. Wait, you're wrong? Huh? Wait, you're confusing me again. Okay, very good. 27 of you got it correct. So looks like this question not too difficult. Okay. Question 6. Which part of the leaf carries out the exchange of gases? Okay, you got to type in your answer. I think just now I've been talking about this part. English is starting soon, right after this Kahoot. Still waiting for one answer. 5 of your stomata. Okay. So second last question. Stoma is not accepted. Okay, I think stoma is singular, right? Okay, maybe I should look into it. Okay, what will happen to the fruit? Oh, okay, this one, just now I was talking about it, right? Okay, what will happen to the fruit? Capybara, trying to... Okay, yes, remember, just now we were talking about it, right? The fruit will become bigger. Okay, last question already. Last chance for you to catch up. Okay, this question is going to be a bit difficult. Stoma can be accepted. I'll include it into the answer next time. Okay. This question a bit difficult. Think through it carefully. I hope you get it correct. Oh no, I should have set this as like the double point. I forgot to make it double point. Oh, actually 15 of you got it correct. Okay, leaf A wilted because it could not receive water. Number 3 is who? Nirisha, right? The one that I always say you're confused. Okay, number 2 is subspace. So number 1 is mayonnaise. Okay, how come I never hear from you just now, mayonnaise? Why am I unfair? All right, unfair. Like Kahoot is fair. 5th place, Crystal. Oh my goodness. Okay, 2 places away. Okay, anyway, hopefully you all have enjoyed the Kahoot. And for those who are in the top 3, right, remember to take a screenshot and send us a message, okay, to claim your prize. Okay, if not, like I said, then your prize will belong to me. Okay, right? Okay, let me go out of this, okay, and go into the... Okay, then I'll see you again next week. Next week will be me again because we will be reverting back. But next week I'll be doing the Kahoot live at home. Bye.